Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because chances are you are the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, John Assaraf, and my take on his top 10 rules to success. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Expand your own mindset.
I'm afraid not to do it now. So people ask me, like, when do you stop? Never. When they bury me is when I'll stop. I have such a habit of working on me, learning more, becoming more loving, more caring, more kind, more generous, more giving, more. Like, where do you stop? And it's not a matter of acquiring more. I'm not going to eat any differently for the rest of my life than I eat now. You know, I'm not going to eat bigger, meals. I'm not going to do things too much differently than I am now. So now it's a matter of expression and expanding more to do more good in the world. So in order for me to do more good in the world, I have to expand even my own mindset. I've got to get away from the fears that I have of maybe not being good enough or not being smart enough. I still get those feelings. But because of my daily rituals and my daily practices, I get back to my spiritual center, my spiritual core, and a little bit more confident and a little bit more certain every day towards the goals that I want to achieve. And I bridge that gap. And then when I reach those goals, keep doing it again.
Rule number 2, create success rituals.
The more you can create success rituals, processes and systems, daily success rituals to activate your motivational centers, your emotional centers and behaviors, the more you can create daily rituals of how you start a day, how you deal with stress during the day, how you plan your day, how you evaluate your day, how you follow through to the end of the day in a process that puts you in a cycle of success, the easier it becomes to achieve success and to make that the default mode of the brain.
Rule number 3, use the tools better.
Once you understand that the power center is right within you and you learn how to just use the tools a little bit better, we've got the most powerful 3-pound tool in the world with no user's manual. Right. And so, no user's manual. And so we teach people, here's the latest research. Here's how you can apply it to your life to be healthier, happier, make more money, get a better job, get a raise, start your business and do better by retraining your brain to be totally aligned with your goals and dreams, and learning how do I stay focused, how do I stay motivated, how do I stay on track, how do I develop the habits that will empower me, and how do I do the things that inspire me instead of the things that expire me.
Rule number 4, align your subconscious mind.
You all know that you have a conscious part of your brain that's responsible for certain things, okay? But then you also have a subconscious part of the brain, subconscious. And so what is this 800-pound gorilla that prevents you from achieving your goals? Like, what is it? Like, what do you think it is about the subconscious that prevents you from achieving your goals when consciously you want to achieve your goals, right? Consciously, you want to achieve your goals. And Kamyar, yeah, we have, right hemisphere and left hemisphere of the brain. And in between, okay, we have something called the corpus callosum that connects both hemispheres. And contrary to popular belief, we're not, left brain dominant or right brain dominant. We use all of our brain every 24 hours. So you don't use only 5 or 10% of your brain. The possibilities are endless. All right. But when you're talking about the gorilla, the subconscious is the what I talk about in the book, right, is I named it the gorilla. So conscious and subconscious, yes. And so tell me what you know about the subconscious mind. Like, if it is the 800-pound gorilla, what do we know, right? The gorilla gets what the gorilla wants. And so if you ask yourself a question of, do I really know how to get my subconscious mind aligned with my conscious desires and goals? So answer that question for me. Answer me that riddle. Do you know how to get your subconscious mind? And by the way, the subconscious is not like here and the conscious is here. We know that the left prefrontal cortex, for example, is the seat of awareness, and it's the seat of decision making. It's the seat of choosing what we want. We know that this part of the brain we call the left prefrontal cortex, and it's what I call is the Einstein part of the brain. It can figure things out. You consciously can figure things out. The right prefrontal cortex is the pessimist, or what I refer to as the Frankenstein part of the brain that moves into the memory system and brings forth anything that may get you into trouble, anything that may be painful, anything that might hurt you. And so there's these things going on in the brain. If you think of your brain as an orchestra, and some of your brain is responsible to play certain pieces, and other parts of your brain are there to protect you. When those pieces oppose each other or are not in alignment, then you have chaos.
Hey, this is John Assaraf, and do you love good books? I love to read because there's so much wisdom in books. You get to take somebody else's knowledge, skills, research, pay $15-20, and you learn so much. Now, I'm reading this awesome book called Built to Serve. Find your purpose and become the leader you were born to be. And one of my new friends, really smart guy, really great guy who serves a lot of people, Evan Carmichael, wrote it. And I'm going to read a little bit from chapter number 1. And I love this piece. And maybe it's because I just watched the series on TV on Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, which is really great, by the way, also. One of the things he says here is everybody has Michael Jordan talent at something. Everybody has a Michael Jordan talent at something. You just haven't found it yet. Or you have and you don't believe in yourself enough to go all in. To go all in, right? And you're a genius. I believe you're a genius. And so does he. You're amazing. You are not meant to live a photocopy of someone else's life. You were not created to wake up and do work that is below your capabilities. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something, and you need to uncover exactly what your purpose is and how you can serve and use the serve. So lots of pearls and gems and motivational pieces. Pick up Built to Serve. Evan Carmichael, rising star.
Rule number 5, take action.
The fascination that I have is around living in a world right now where we have access to all the how-to. How do I make more money? How do I grow my business? How do I have a great relationship? How do I, find the love of my life? How do I put a rocket ship on Mars? And a lot of people are confusing having information and how-to with actually doing it. And I've been fascinated just in understanding, how do I help people unleash more of their potential that already exists? And a lot of people may have heard, they say that we only use 5 to 10% of our brain. And that's not true. We use 100% of our brain's capacity and neural networks every moment of every day. But the potential to use more is there. And so our researchers at NeuroGym really are uncovering
how to take the best information from the world of neuropsychology, neuroscience, and give it to everyday people so they can say, okay, how do I overcome my fear of not being good enough, my fear of not being smart enough, my fear of being embarrassed or ridiculed or ashamed, or fear of failure or fear of success. These are all psychological issues that everybody feels, but very few people understand. When I feel that, what do I do about it so that I can unlock more of my potential, so I can actually take more action, first on the things I already know that I could be and should be doing, but I'm not, and next on the behaviors that I could be taking to achieve my success easier and faster. And that's really my passion, is helping people unlock that amazing potential within them.
Rule number 6, get on the path.
The beautiful thing about the time that we're living in now is we can share knowledge and experiences, and anybody with a phone, an iPad or a smartphone or an Android or a computer, anywhere in the world, in the Kalahari Desert, in Antarctica, can get access and get inspired.
The best ideas in the world.
Yeah, to get the best ideas in the world, but to see that we're no different. None of us are different. The illusion is that we're different because we're comparing who we are compared to the person that we're listening to or learning from, and we're seeing the gap. And the gap is what causes us to be uncomfortable. But if we remember, we're all spiritual. We're all made from the exact same thing. If you think about the human body, it's made of hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, helium. There's elements. Well, we came from the furnaces of stars. You can't have carbon, in the human body that didn't come from the inside of a star. Helium and hydrogen is what the Big Bang was initially made up of. And then as all the gases coalesced and created stars and then galaxies, we became, our flesh and blood and everything that we became, the organism, has come from the universal intelligence. That's why we're all connected. And that's why we all have the same abilities, different skills, different knowledge, but the same abilities to become all of the ideas, goals, and dreams that we have. And so we just have to say, that is what I want to trade my life for. And even though I don't know how, even though I may not feel totally comfortable or confident, or I'm lacking certainty, let's get on the path, and then we can change the world together.
Rule number 7, interrupt the fear pattern.
If everybody can imagine for a moment you're driving a car and everything's going great, and all of a sudden a light pops up on your dash. Now, the average person won't take a hammer and hit the light to turn it off. An average person will take a look at, what is that light? Am I low on windshield wiper fluid? Am I low on air in my tires? Is my back trunk open? What's going on? So just like the signal in a car is meant to make you aware, fear is a trigger in our subconscious mind that real or imagined danger has percolated in our brain. And so fear, there's nothing wrong with fear. We can actually use fear as fuel. Now, I like to, give people visuals. So imagine if you have, two parts of your brain. There's many more, but imagine these two. We have the Einstein brain and we have the Frankenstein brain. And when fear gets activated, let's assume that that's our Frankenstein brain going, what if? What if you get hurt? What if you lose money? What if you die? What if you get embarrassed, ashamed, ridiculed, or judged? And so why does Frankenstein even get activated? Because we're not born with those fears. And so if we're not born with those fears, that means that something in our brain is triggering this reaction automatically without our thought. And that is what we call as the fear response. And we also know that that fear response causes something called the sympathetic nervous system to activate, which causes us to want to fight, freeze, or run away. That's just the absolute reaction at a biological level of what is happening. Now, when we want to deactivate that sympathetic nervous system, there's several what I call our exercises that we can do that actually gives us more control, more power, and the ability to reactivate the Einstein part of the brain. So exercise number 1 is really, really simple. It's called Take 6, Calm the Circuits. So as soon as you catch yourself in a state of doubt, fear, worry, anxiety, stress, that means that Frankenstein's activated. If you just took 6 deep breaths in through your nose as slowly as you could, and then you exhaled as if you're exhaling through a straw in your mouth. If you just did that 6 times, that very simple exercise would deactivate the Frankenstein brain and allow you to reactivate your thinking, imagination, Einstein part of your brain. And then you can do the second exercise, which puts you right back in control. And that one I call is AIA, A-I-A, which is now a matter of awareness of my thoughts, emotions, feelings, sensations, or the behaviors that I've just taken, or the one I'm afraid to take. And in a pure state of awareness without judgment, blame, shame, guilt, or justification. Let me repeat, without any judgment, blame, shame, guilt, or justification of the feeling or the thought or the behavior, now I'm empowered again because now I can observe. And now in this observational mode, I could say, okay, what's my intention, let's say for the next 10 minutes? Well, my intention is to be happy. Great. My intention is to be productive. Great. My intention is to, take action on this one thing that's going to help me towards my goal and dream. So in the awareness and in the intention, then if I say, what's one small action step I could take towards what I want instead of what I don't want? So all of a sudden, I've interrupted a fear pattern. I've created this state of awareness. I've set an intention, and now I'm taking action towards what I want versus being paralyzed by what I don't want and a fear that may or may not be real. So awareness is what actually gives us choice, and choice is what actually gives us freedom if we make the right choices.
Rule number 8, get outside your comfort zone.
We all have these patterns that are subconscious, that are driving our behaviors more than our conscious efforts. And so when we're dealing with the gorilla in the brain, and again, it's a metaphorical way to look at it, you have to understand that the gorilla is going to get whatever the gorilla is wired to get. The gorilla does not care about what you consciously want. The gorilla really focuses on the patterns that are going to keep it safe. And here's what safe means. Safe just means comfort zone. Let's say you're miserable. Let's say you're broke. Let's say you're overweight. Let's say you're in a relationship that you don't like. Let's say you're a job you don't love. That is safe to the gorilla. Why? Because it knows the pain it's already dealing with. It knows the discomfort. It knows the price it's paying already versus getting out of that comfort zone, leaving the job that you're not happy with, leaving a relationship that you're not in love with, trying to earn more income, getting out of debt. You could be in debt and comfortable. You could be in a relationship you hate and comfortable. You could be in a job that you don't love and comfortable. And the gorilla is going to keep you in your comfort zone.
Rule number 9, practice your beliefs.
When I was 19 years old, when I had a mentor, a man who was in his 50s, very, very successful, he agreed to mentor me and to teach me what he knew. And so he sent me home with some paper. And on the paper it said, what do you want to achieve in your health? What do you want to achieve in your relationships? What do you want to achieve financially? What do you want to achieve charity? What do you want to achieve as far as experiences? When do you want to retire by? How much money do you want to make?
Wow.
He asked me about 10 pages of questions. And at 19, I had no idea. How much do I want to make? I want to make enough to pay my bills. I want to make enough to, just eat well and then have some fun. I want to go drinking with my friends. I want to go party and travel a little bit and pay for my apartment and a nice car and things like that. But he had me think, 1 year, 5 years, 25 years.
Wow.
And I was 19, and he made me write down the answers to these questions, even though I had no idea how to achieve them. He made me write it down. It took me a whole weekend. And then I went back and he looked at my papers. And so he looked at health and wealth and relationships and career and business. And he goes, good, way to do the exercise. I'm very proud of you. He says, now I want you to increase that amount. And so I said that, by the time I was 45, I was 19. I said, by the time I was 45, I was going to be a millionaire. Nobody in my family was a millionaire. Not my aunts, not my uncles, not my cousins, nobody in the area that we lived in. And I wrote that down. And he said, no, that's not enough. He says, you could do better than that. And I'm like, I'm swallowing, I'm scared, I'm afraid. How am I going to become more than that? How can I have all of this? He says, don't worry about the how right now. You worry only, and not even worry, but you write down what you want. And so I went back home and started to write again.
Again.
And took another, half a day to redo my goals. And he said to me, great, now in order for you to achieve those goals, what do you have to believe?
Wow.
I said, well, I have to believe that I can. I have to believe that I deserve it. And even though I didn't believe that I deserved it, he said, what would you think you had to believe? I have to believe that it could be done. I have to believe that I could learn the skills. I would have to believe. So he made me write out what I would have to believe.
Good question.
And then he said, great, what do you think you would have to do every day?
Wow.
I go,
Amazing question.
well, I guess I would have to come to work every day, and I'd have to really get good at what I'm doing, and I'd have to learn more than I'm learning right now because I hated to learn back then, and I'd have to, gain more skills, which I didn't have any. The only thing I was good at was I had an easy time talking to people like I am with you now. And he said, great, well, let's make a list of all of these things, and let's come up with a plan to do this. He said, so every day, let's look at some beliefs. And so every day he would have me look at my goals. And I would sit in my chair and I'd have my goals, that he had me write. And I would take my fingers, which he told me to touch my goals, so that I would send a message to my brain as I was reading it and seeing it to reinforce the goals that I wrote. Then I would read the beliefs that I needed to have. I have all the intelligence I need to achieve these goals. I can now acquire all the skills to achieve these goals. And I read about 20 or 30 different beliefs every day. And for the first month or 2 months, while I was reading all of this, in my head, this one word kept coming up. You know what the word was? Bullshit. Because as I would read it, my brain would say, bullshit, that's not true. And he told me that my brain would try to talk to me and tell me it's not true. And he said, if you keep doing it over and over and over again, your brain's going to get tired of telling you it's not true. And especially if after you do this, you take some actions to upgrade your knowledge, upgrade your skills, you'll develop more confidence and more certainty. So he taught me how to use the telephone to make telephone calls to people to see if they were interested in buying a real estate property or selling their home. I was in real estate at 19. And for the first month it was hard, second month it was hard, the third month it was hard, but as I got better and more comfortable at being on the telephone, talking to people that I didn't know, that I thought didn't want to hear from me or talk to me, I found one person, then 2 people, then 3 people, then 5 people who said yes. Because as I became more comfortable, as I became more skilled, as I gained more knowledge, people received me differently. And in my first year, I made $30,000. I was 19, which was $5,000 more than my father made as a taxi driver.
Wow.
Then he started to upgrade my skills a little bit more. And he started to teach me some very specific things to do in real estate. And in my second year at 20, I made $151,000.
Wow.
5 times more income, because every day for 1 hour a day, I practiced my beliefs. I practiced seeing my vision. I rehearsed it. I got on the phone. I upgraded my knowledge. I upgraded my skills.
I love your story.
Thank you. And so he kept directing me a little bit at a time to become more tomorrow than I am today. And he said to me something that changed my life. He says, if you invest 1 hour a day on your personal growth and changing who you believe you are, that is the equivalent of 9 40-hour weeks of effort. 1 hour a day for a year is 9 40-hour weeks. If you and I said today, we're gonna learn breakdancing, or we're gonna learn knitting, and we're gonna spend 9 weeks, 40 hours a week, we would get good at painting, we would get good at knitting, we would get good at darts, we would get good at playing a musical instrument if we were committed to 1 hour a day. So I've practiced 1 hour a day for 32 years.
Wow.
And that 1 hour a day has changed my life.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is have a crap board.
Vision board for seeing what you want. The accomplished board for reminding yourself that you've got a lot that you've accomplished, so you feel good. And the crap board.
Do you actually put up images of things you've accomplished?
Yeah. I have them in my closet, in my home, encased on the floor.
Like on the floor, so that you don't look at them. So
I look at them just because I sit down to put on my shoes. I want to look at them every day.
Interesting.
Yeah. On my I have this ritual as well. I do something called brush and prime. So on my bathroom mirror, I have my goals that are on my mirror, so that as I'm brushing my teeth, I'm priming my brain to see my goals in front of me every morning and every night.
I love that.
Right, so that's priming your brain, which is a whole other topic we can have. And then the accomplishment boards reminds me, whenever I look at the stuff that I've accomplished, I go, that wasn't easy. I mean, there were a lot of ups, downs, highs, lows, failures, times I thought I'd quit and I didn't. So it's to remind me to go through the times that I don't think I'm going to be able to achieve those things. And then the crap board stands for conflict, resistance, accomplishments, and procrastination. So what conflicts are happening right now that I need to resolve? What resistance is in my way? What am I resistance? What in front of me is resisting right now? And then accomplishment as well is to remind you that you can get through stuff. And then procrastination is what's causing me to procrastinate. So if you create a crap board as well, you have that in front of you, and then you can create a game plan for what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do about the conflicts?
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video, and what is your plan of action that you're going to execute this week to make some immediate momentum happen? When you just get motivated and watch a video, you have a 35% chance of following through. That's what the science says. But when you write down what time, what day, what place you're actually going to execute, when you create the plan, you have a 91% chance of following through. And I want that for you. And when you commit to people publicly, you increase your chances even more of actually doing it. So I want to know what your single biggest takeaway from this video was, and your specific plan of action to actually get the result you're after. Let me know. Put it down in the comments below, because I want to celebrate you.
And what I learned so many years ago was it was worth paying for specialized knowledge from experts. not from people who had opinions. If you want to make $1 million, whether it's net worth or in a year, the best thing to do is learn from somebody who's already made it or is making it right now. If you want to be healthy, find somebody who's healthy and follow their rituals, their processes, and their systems, and adapt them to your specific needs.
If you want to change your life in the next 30 days for free, check out my training right here below. Or if you want 10 more awesome rules from John Assaraf, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy them. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.